Content marketing is a buzz term, if you ask me. I think it's bizarre. It just means about creating good content. So it doesn't matter whether it's your website, your blog, or your social media updates. Obviously a very, very important part of our social media strategy. So at the moment we've talked about goals, talked about listening, talked about selecting the right social media channels, and now we're talking about getting the right content. This was the best definition I've ever seen in the world for what content marketing actually is. It says, content marketing is a strategic approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and, big one, consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and wait for it, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. So this is the essence of everything that we're trying to do. It's valuable, it's relevant, and it's consistent content. So we can't be on Facebook posting something once a week and then nothing for 3 months and then something six times a day. It's the consistent content is going to be vital. Valuable, relevant, we've talked about that a lot today. Clearly defined audience, that's where our personas came in. So we're actually creating the right type of content, but ultimately to drive profitable customer action. Again, there is no point building a massive audience that never becomes our customer. There is no point creating great content for the people consuming our content to not know that we're a garden centre that's open, that sells the product we're talking about. So it's about branding and making sure that we're motivating people to actually get in their cars and actually come to us rather than digest all this wonderful content and do nothing. Or God forbid, even go to a competitor. This is the key. So if consistency is very important, it's having a plan in place. And it's having a blended approach. So knowing what the purpose of our social media activity is important. We talked about that. Knowing who we're going to talk to. We talked about that. But these are the things, is possibly looking at creating what I would call a content calendar. So deciding, we post 3 times a week. I know Greg said once a day would be great on Facebook, but we're never going to do that. So let's try to create a really good bit of content for our Facebook page 3 times a week. So there's your starting point. Now what content are you going to create? Okay, well, we need a how-to video. We possibly need a funny gardening joke or an inspirational quote around gardening. We possibly, what else could we do on a regular basis that would be useful?
What's in bloom now?
What's in bloom now? What's in bloom now? Yeah. So that would be brilliant. Yeah. And then another vital component is going to be Jerry Maguire, show me the money, come and buy from me. So we still need one post that's pretty much around, here's a cool special offer for this weekend. Or you could even, with your content ideas, go, what would you guys like to be this week's special offer? We have these plants at half price, or we can do these pots at half price, or whatever, and actually get your community to kind of make those decisions for you. But ultimately, some of your posts need to be thinking around a sale. Otherwise, you just get this wonderful word branding that goes nowhere. Content ideas, one of the problems, particularly if you're blogging, and we'll talk about blogging in a little bit, is what should we do? What can we do? So we mentioned short videos, podcasts. I mean, maybe we're not brilliant on camera. Maybe we'd never talk and we wouldn't stop talking on a podcast. So again, there's a very simple tool called Audio Boom. There's a few of them, but audioboom.com that allows you to create really nice little sound bites and tips that can be effortlessly shared across your social media platforms. So again, you could look at them as a different thing. I found with podcasting sometimes, or even audio recording is sometimes the boss. There's no way you'd get him in camera. There's also no way you'd ever get him to write a piece of content because he's out doing what he's doing. He's never written a thing since the Intercert, for God's sake. So you're never going to get content off him, but get him to ramble into a phone with some tips and tricks, you wouldn't shut him up. So sometimes it's taking even that content and transcribing it into a bunch of visual updates, and a blog post and so on can work very well. If we move to case studies, so if you've transformed, so again, the customers that are coming in and they're buying these things, it's trying to stay with them when they leave. Our nursery, our garden centre, don't say goodbye, never see you again. Say, I'd love to see your garden when everything is done. And trying to even follow up with those people and showcasing the beautiful garden that has been transformed through the shrubs and other work they put in. That's very powerful stuff. Link roundups. So say you don't create content on your website, and that's okay, because let's be honest, we don't have loads of time. What's a simple trick to do is to figure out 6 or 7 resources on the web where great content hangs out, and write a simple post, or record a simple interview, or record a simple piece of audio saying, here are the 5 best resources or articles we've read for enthusiastic gardeners this week or this month. And just showcase those other places. And the weird thing is, as people are lazy, if you actually did that on a regular basis, people would go looking for your content because they know it's there and they know the content's brilliant. So you kind of get the credit for other people's great work. What else? Obviously, visual content we talked about is important. Guides, how to post and videos is going to be important. Product reviews will be very, very important. And the one thing is, I nearly leave when I go to a garden centre. There's too much soil. I just want soil. There's sometimes just too many options for me. I just don't know what the hell's going on. So it could be just product reviews and compost. Compost. To me, that's soil. And there you go. It shows how naive this lad is, isn't it? And then interviews as well. So interviews. So you've got your celebrities and your influencers that you can interview, but you've also got your staff. And let's be honest, your staff are the face of your business. So when people come to your garden centre, the first thing they see is your staff. They engage with your staff. It's your staff that makes a massive difference. So rather than keeping social media and your content into the confines and the vault of some marketing department that lives upstairs, trying to showcase the face, the personality, the tips and the advice of your staff can be massive. And interviews are a nice way of doing that. So we hire Billy. He's maybe been there a month. We know he's going to work out. Really knowledgeable, enthusiastic guy. Let's do an interview with him. And the weird thing is, if I read an interview or watched an interview with Billy, when I walk into the nursery, it's like an old friend. Hey! Hugs and kisses and everything, because I've already built a relationship with him. So bearing in mind, that's a massive thing. So even just thinking along those things, lots of ideas. So it's now literally putting those ideas on paper and actually starting to make decisions on them. Obviously, I'm a big fan of planning things. Massively important. But in real time, certain things will happen in life that will be a massive opportunity or a massive threat. So, we could be infested by, we were going to get infested by, what were they? Locusts or something at one stage? A while back, there was a massive talk of locusts to hit Ireland. Needless to say, never happened. But the point is, if something happens, you may need to react to it in real time. So don't be so rigid with your social media structure and calendar that you can't change or adopt to something that happens. The thing I like about Hootsuite, which we mentioned earlier on, is I can always go back and see what I have scheduled, change what I have scheduled, and tweak things as I need to go. So, for example, here, it was Tesco's customer care department, God, they're very caring, lovely crew. They sent out this tweet, and perfectly, to be honest, I think this is a bit of a storm in a teacup, but this was sent out through a scheduled platform, and it says, it's sleepy time, so we're off to hit the hay. See you at 8 a.m. for more Tesco tweets. The day the horse meat scandal broke.
They did not.
They did. And the weird thing is, they had signed off with that several times. That was kind of a sign-off that they often signed off on. But that day, that became very inappropriate. So the reality is, hands up here who, when they go into work in the morning, checks their emails. Yeah, I definitely do. So all I'm saying here is, when you go into work in the morning, if you schedule content, check what you have scheduled. Just like you would emails, what do we have going out today, and is it still okay? Because sometimes you forget what you have scheduled. And it's just a little reminder of what you're doing. This was, again, this will be in the note, a very simple kind of calendar, if you like, that you can use to plan some of your content. Nothing brilliant about it. The only thing I would possibly add to it, which maybe I should have done, but something to add to it is results, comments. So there's two things like that. Results and comments. So again, there's no point doing something unless you actually take the time to monitor and to see whether it works, to document whether it works. I often do, even when working with clients, I'll often say in my gut feeling, I think if we did that earlier in the campaign, it would have been more successful. Or we should have held off on that competition for a week, and I think we would have got more entrants. And you know, if you don't document those things, you forget about them. So the next time you're planning it, you fall down the same mistake as before. So those are really simple thing to do. The other thing is, again, possibly commenting and even offering content to other sites. So even with the likes of the Grow More, it's as simple as the WhatsApp group. If you have fantastic images, let's get your garden centre or your nursery mentioned and showcased on the Grow More social media platforms, where there's more fans and possibly more engagement, so more reach and branding for yourself. So don't be afraid to literally comment and contribute content to third-party places where your target audience, aka your customers and prospective customers, are hanging out.